Hello and welcome back to another sports rant. I am your host, Max Gallegos, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That really helps me get views. Go follow all my socials at another sports rant. And you know what? Yeah, let's get right into the video. First and foremost, a lot of college hoops today. Seton Hall stuns UCONN in overtime, 69-68. What does this mean for UConn moving forward and Dan Hurley? We saw these are two-time back-to-back champions. They hadn't lost a game before this year in I don't remember how long, but they lose 3 straight early. Memphis, Colorado, Dayton, and it's kind of been a roller coaster since then. There's been a lot of turbulence. There's been there have been ups and downs. They've beaten some good teams. They beat Creighton. There's some of these things, but these teams, this Seton Hall team, this was bad. This is crash out bad. We saw, to put perspective, Seton Hall came into this game 1-12 in conference. They were coming off a 9-game losing streak. 9 games. They were bad. The Seton Hall team was bad. And UConn is the two-time champions. They're playing them quarter to quarter. It's like UConn has these 5-star kids. It's been a disaster. The recent really what most teams would consider a complete breakdown. That is, oof. Dan Hurley said post game he was this. They look poorly coached. They look bad. And you know what? What does this mean for Dan Hurley? Who after they beat Creighton, there were some 19-year-old kids probably heckling him from the crowd. And he goes bye-bye. And he points at his ring. He's I got 2 rings. If you're going to bark, you got to bite. That's just the name. If you're going to talk shit, you got to back it up. And I guarantee you those Creighton students are fucking laughing at him right now. They're this goon. This goober. The internet is clowning the shit out of him. He's a great coach. Don't get it twisted. I am not a Dan Hurley hater. I like Dan Hurley. I like me a coach who's passionate. He gives a fuck. He's sitting there any video that pops up of him on the internet, he's screaming at his guys. And he's this, but when it comes to things like this, it's bad. And like I said, Seton Hall was a bad team. This team is not going to be in March. And UConn, they're 2-time champions. They did not play like it today. They just flat out didn't. They played they played like a high school team. It was terrible. And they have 5-stars out there. It's Seton Hall doesn't have the guys. They don't shoot the ball well. Dan Hurley sitting there saying, "This is our Super Bowl. We have to lock the fuck in." And I don't know, man. It was a complete breakdown. Maybe this is a wake-up call. I don't know. It feels like the 3-game losing streak was a wake-up call. I feel like not being considered a top 4 program should be a wake-up call, but this is the icing on the cake. That was bad. We'll see. We'll really see what happens. But they were on this was the game that we're on a roll. We're starting fresh. We had beaten some ranked teams. We're coming back. We beat they had some good wins. They had beaten Baylor. They had beaten Gonzaga and Marquette, and they just beat Creighton. Big 12, they used to run the Big 12, and they used to be the class of it. It's really just turned into St. John's program now. It's really all it is. But damn, that was just a collapse. It crumbled. But if there's any like this, if there's anybody who can get it right, it's Dan Hurley. Because this, like, we remember this summer, they were talking about him coaching the Lakers, and I don't know. He's probably looking back at that and be like, "Damn, I should have taken that job." But anyway, if they need to figure some things out. They just need to take this pill, the medicine. This is the worst thing that's happened to them in the last 10 years. That was just ugh. But the one thing that worries me is like the antics that he's had. This is like when he's saying, I got two rings, and bye bye, and just like his players are on the internet. They see I'm just scrolling through Twitter as they lose to Seton Hall, and I'm like, damn. Like, imagine what being like his player. Like, you can kind of like think about you think about that, like, you ever had like a coach that you're like, damn, not really proud of him there, but it could like that's worst case. Like, he could lose like some guy's respect. But he's like, if there's anybody who's gonna fix it, it's Dan. But also, like, whew, that is not the way you want to go out. That is a team you should have spanked. You should have destroyed Seton Hall. They were horrid. They're losing to like directional schools. They were on a 9-game losing streak. I don't know. There's some things you gotta fix. Like, you gotta fix them like yesterday. Anyway.